Every opportunity that I've gotten is through jam sessions. When I got to New York first, my saxophone was lost/stole. The money that I had to move to New York, I had to spend that to get a new horn. So that means I didn't have a down payment for an apartment. That means I either leave New York and save up again or stay there and figure it out. I didn't know anyone. So I lived in my car for like 4 months. I was doing it, man. So I going to jam sessions till 4 in the morning and going home to my car.
Wow.
You know, when I think back, I wasn't even considering how dangerous it was or how outlandish it was. So I was like, okay, man, that's how much I was in it. But like I said, every opportunity to come through jam sessions.
That's the incredible saxophonist Tivon Pennicott, who is known for his work with Ari Honig, Esperanza Spalding, Gregory Porter, and others. We met up at the NAMM show and had an amazing conversation, which I'm sure will inspire and motivate you as it did for me. Enjoy.
Okay.
So, Tivon, man, I met you in passing.
Yes.
And I remember meeting you, and you just had this beautiful energy. The first time I met you at the NAMM show.
Mm-hmm.
And then we were just talking about energy on
Yes.
the way up.
Yeah.
And so yesterday you came by the booth and you played some saxophone, and I just witnessed some of that beautiful energy.
Oh.
So I just want to kind of share that with everybody. And I have some clips too I can give you. But so first you took one of our horns. You just put your mouthpiece on it. Like, oh, let me try this out.
Yeah.
And I'm like, can I film you playing? You're like, yeah, sure. And then you just played what sounded to me like some sort of modern classical etude that you just invented on the spot and composed. It was beautiful. It was, and you were like, no, just like trying all the different ranges of, but it was. So when I hear you play stuff, your approach, you know, all day people are playing sniff stuff at NAMM.
Right. Yes.
You pick up the instrument, and your approach is different than everybody.
When I pick up and play a new horn, I want to find the center of the tone. I don't know what that, I guess, just trying to find where I am, you know, in relation to the horn. If I just start going crazy, then there's no real sensitivity. There's no really a gauge.
Man, you just like improvised an avant-garde classical etude for us.
Because every horn has its center, whatever that means in my mind, you know. So I kind of try to start slow, start with a long note, and then see where my ears go, and then I like to get into creative mode as soon as possible because that gives me the fastest indication of how the horn feels for me, you know. So that's what I was kind of doing, you know, play a long note, and then where my ears taking me. And then I go there naturally, and I kind of keep moving until something feels different because it's a new horn. Something's going to feel different. Then when it does, I'm like, okay, take a little mental note, could be good or bad, and then just continue flowing with that. But if you're going fast, then you can't really just explore the horn.
And does that apply? I mean, I would think that way of thinking probably applies to when you're just playing
right.
for real, you know.
Yeah, you gotta explore the tune. You gotta have some patience. That's how I feel. I mean, of course, you know, there are different contrasting moments where you want to come out guns blazing, you know, when you're improvising. But I generally like to listen to myself, listen to what's happening around me. Because, like it or not, you have to listen to not the voices but the notes in your head.
Yeah.
And give some space for the notes in your head to kind of percolate and materialize. And yeah, so I like to just kind of be patient in that way. Sometimes it happens faster than others.
Okay, so another thing speaking of listening, another thing that was crazy yesterday was, you know, we're hanging out and there's this young lady Her name is Francesca. You remember that,
yes,
that
yeah.
girl? And she's like trying out. She has so much really good energy, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
And she's like playing all the mouthpiece in the reeds. She sees you. She's like, "Hey, how's it going? Hey, you want to jam with me?" And you're like, "Yeah," you know. And then and then she just starts playing some notes, and you just start listening. And you guys, so that was like, wow, that was like a cosmic sort of experience. I was like, wow, that was like so different than anything that's happening at NAMM, right?
Right.
Like, wow, this is this beautiful moment. And you were just like, all right, let me listen to it and respond. I mean, it was so cool, man. And the way you did that.
Yeah, this is sliding down with me.
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody has, everybody's ideas are valid. Everybody's space, everybody deserves their own space. And she was kind enough to invite me to in her own space, and that was just an immediate indication. It's like, okay, her heart is pure, so let's create, no matter what. And so then we kind of see what's going on, and I give her a note, and I was playing alto, so I'm not, and so that for me, my brain activity was a little bit higher just because I'm trying to get centered in that zone, which is a whole
What
thing.
is it that you said yesterday? You said a whole other atmosphere of.
I forgot what I said.
It was a good turn of words.
Yeah, forgot what I said.
Yeah.
but just it was much easier to start slow and listen, and but it was funny because in that moment I had to do like a double. I'm like transposing in my head. So whenever I heard her play, I was like, okay, this is where I want to go. But I can't go there. I have to go there. So it's because I had to change the fingerings because I'm a tenor man,
Right, you're a tenor,
tenor.
but also you told me you have perfect pitch.
Yeah, exactly.
That's interesting because that kind of becomes a challenge when you switch to an alto from tenor.
Right. But I've spent enough time on alto in the past that it became another instrument that you just learn. But it's been so long, so every time that I pick it up, it's like, okay, let me recalibrate. Just recalibrate, get back. Same thing like with flute, because I play flute pretty often, so the transposition is pretty quick. But with alto, it's like, okay, same fingering, a fourth away,
Right.
or you still like, okay, same fingering, or fifth down, I don't know, fourth, fifth, all those.
Whatever it
One
is.
of those.
So maybe we can talk quickly about your story. Like, I'm sure it's really interesting. I don't know anything about it.
Yeah.
How you started playing saxophone or got into music, and
Yeah. Well, I would start by saying, grew up in Georgia. Started saxophone at 12 years old in middle school, pick an instrument. And I'm very thankful to have music instructors, band directors that were into all types of music, and they would just have different types of music playing on the stereo in the band room. And I remember my middle school band director putting on Joshua Redman's Hide and Seek, and that's the first time I heard anything of jazz, anything at all. So I'm like, it's playing like, boom, 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 and I'm like, saxophone can do that, And so I'm just introduced to that world, and then came Duke Ellington, was huge for me. Then came Sonny Rollins, and then the lineage going back, Bird, just kind of going through that. But it kind of started in middle school, and my parents, they are Jamaican, so they came in the 70s. My household was a Jamaican household, very Caribbean heavy, so that atmosphere was pretty influential as far as what's going on in the house. Super Christian, so I was only hearing hymns, church hymns. We're going to church 3 times a week. So I'm just in that.
Wow.
And so not only church hymns, but in a reggae style, in ska style, and all that vibe. So that's kind of the mix, Once I got interested in playing, I just kind of was exploring. Anytime I was in a Barnes and Nobles, I was looking for little books, and saw CDs, saw the covers of CDs. I saw Duke Ellington's Nutcracker Suite. I remember just picking that up randomly, not knowing what's going on. Sonny Rollins stuff. I heard the saxophone Colossus. Those were kind of like foundational jazz things. From then, just loving it. Just having my CD player. Have just my headphones, just listening on road trips when we were going to Disney World. Just I was in it.
It made me think of, like, when you're talking about getting CDs, like I remember doing that, and I feel like people today, you're missing out, because when you had to go to the bookstore, you had to look, and you're looking at the cover, you're looking on the back.
Right. Yeah.
Do I get this? I have this amount of money.
Yeah,
exactly. What do I get? And you have to choose, and then you gotta go home, and that's all you got is like those 10 tracks or 3 tracks, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And then you just gotta dive into it.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas now, there's just so much choice that I feel like it's all equal, because
it's saturated.
You're not spending your hard-earned money or your allowance or whatever on it.
Yeah.
There's no sacrifice to get,
Yeah.
and you're not choosing. I mean, it's great that we have all that.
Yes.
But I feel like those albums are more meaningful to you because this is my collection.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Physical collection. We're human. It's part of, the social aspect, that physical part.
And everyone talks about like the random thing that I picked up because it was there, and and for whatever reason it spoke to me, and I chose that.
Exactly.
And then you listen to that one over and over again.
Yes, exactly.
And that's a beautiful thing,
Yeah.
So anyway.
Yeah, man, you relate. So in the CD and.
Okay, so after that, so now you're developing,
I'm playing.
What happens next?
Playing, and I'm realizing at the end of high school, I'm like, this is something I really love. I would like to do this. I want to pursue this. I get so much joy and fulfillment out of it. So I'm like, okay, what's the next step? And my teacher recommended all the schools in New York, the Juilliard, the Manhattans, the new schools, and also other schools in like Berkeley and even the New Orleans school. What's that? Loyola, but I ended up going to University of Miami.
Okay.
Florida.
Yeah, but that's a great school too.
Great school. And so I'm coming from this really spiritual background and at home, just like kind of like letting the spirit lead and just playing what I hear and all that. So Miami was great for me because of how much they focus on the technical aspect of the saxophone when it comes to alternate fingerings, like the nerdy stuff, like altissimo fingerings and how to, create a solid sound, focused sound and overtones and all that stuff, In Miami, under Gary Keller, they're kind of the school of Brecker out there, subtly, the Dave Liebman, Michael Brecker, Bob Berg, and all the Bobs, man. There's a lot of Bobs that come with that sound. But that was really good for me to be there, University of Miami, and just also harmony, the foundation of that modal harmony, diatonic modal harmony when it comes to harmonic major, harmonic minor, melodic minor, and just the major, the modes, And then also another perspective of modes is like Barry Harris school of thought, just learning all different types of ways of thinking about the same thing, in my opinion. So University of Miami was great for that. But I would say it was kind of far away from what's happening in New York. So when I moved to New York after 5 years, kind of had to start from scratch. Be like, who are you? What's going on? But at the same time, I felt prepared. I felt like I got a lot of
Okay, so tell us about this. You get to New York, and then you meet some people. You what happens?
Yeah, I was jam sessions, man. Every opportunity that I've gotten is through jam sessions. I was out there. I should say this. This is important. I have to. When I got to New York first, my saxophone was lost/stolen, and I had a Selmer what's it called? Summer Radio Improved tenor, and I was playing that up until I moved to New York. I was sleepless. I left it on the street for a second, and then I came back out to go get it. I'm like, well, where is it at? And it was gone. So the money that I had to move to New York, I had to spend that to get a new horn, just so I'd be there. So that means I didn't have a down payment for an apartment. That means I either leave New York and save up again, or stay there and figure it out. I didn't know anyone. Thankfully, I had my car, so I lived in my car for like 4 months. When I first moved to New York. Yeah.
Sacrifice.
Yeah, I was doing it, man. So I was going to jam sessions till 4 a.m. and going home to my car.
Wow.
Yeah. I moved there. I moved like in August, so like end of summer. By the time the 4 months was over, it was cold. November, and so I finally got into a spot. But that was.
But I imagine going through your mind from time to time in your car, you might be like,
Yeah. No, I was thinking all that, man. But at the same time, that, when I think back, I wasn't even considering how dangerous it was or how outlandish it was. So I was like, okay, man, that's how much I was in it. I'm dedicated. I'm like, yo.
No question.
Yeah.
What you were doing.
Yeah. I'm like, thinking back, like, how in the world was I doing that, But I loved it. I was busking on the streets, playing all types of, standards and trying to just make some pocket money. I eventually saved up enough for a down payment on the, what do they call that? It's not a down.
The guarantee of the apartment.
Yeah. You put a deposit.
Deposit. Yeah.
You put a deposit in, and then I had a, I got in there, but like I said, every opportunity to come through jam sessions from New York City's, from Fat Cat and Smalls and Zinc Bar was a big one. We had some jam sessions in Harlem that I would be. It just kind of got me knowing different people.
So what was like, when did you start breaking out and having some?
I would say the first part, big one is like Ari Honig. I was just playing at Smalls in the late night with this guy named Spencer Murphy. He's on my first album. Spencer Murphy's a great bassist. He was working at Smalls, and I would play late night with him. On Mondays, Ari Honig was playing right afterwards, and he heard me play. And so at some point, he invited me to session at his house, through these jam sessions and playing, and I got to play with him. I've grown a lot, playing with Ari Honig over the years. Then after that, another jam session, I met this trumpeter Igmar Thomas, and he was involved. He knew Esperanza Spalding, and she was doing her Black Gold album. I'm sorry, her radio music album back in 2011, and he's like, they need horns. So he heard me playing at the jams. Igmar heard me playing at jam sessions. Like, man, you should come. Esperanza's looking for horns. Let's do it. So I played with him. Did a little short tour with Esperanza. That's huge, financially, and also networking wise. That was huge. Yeah, it's like the association of playing with Esperanza, and also Ari Honig. I played on his album. People started knowing a little more and more. So I'd say that's pretty big. Of course, as time goes on, I played with Gregory Porter on his album, Be Good. Yeah, this the sideman thing, man. It's really nice to start kind of finally getting in there. I would say that anybody that moves to New York, no matter how good you are, you need at least 2 years in order to kind of break in. Like the general. Of course, you got exceptions with people who have opportunities or just, I don't know, prodigies that just people have known about before. But if you're going from scratch, you know, you need at least 2 years.
So let's talk about where you are now. Like, so where are we at now? You got your own group.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about that.
Yeah. 2023, I had my debut tour, you know, as in a quartet. It's amazing. I think all the years of playing with other people have paid off because people kind of knew who I was, and I'm playing. So I'm singing. I have like electronic stuff in my pedals, and of course I'm doing the acoustic thing. It's been really, really fruitful so far. So just continuing that flow. You know, I was all over Europe and all over the States. You know that. I mean, I released my last album, The Roots to Branches. Yeah, that was 2023 release or 2024 release, and that's continuing with that sound, that flow. But I'm working on something, like a few things. I'm all over the place, and I like to be all over the place.
Yeah.
You know, I'm embracing that. Right before the Roots to Branches album, I did the string album. You know, with like 26-piece string orchestra, and recorded analog to tape. You know, I arranged everything and did all that. So now I'm working on a symphony, and I'm going on the next level with that. And I can't wait to kind of, you know, have that manifest completely.
So symphony. So what is there a genre, or what's
the genre is, you know, it's a mix of everything I've been doing. Like I said, I love being all over the place, but I'm doing my pedals, so that's going to be incorporated with the strings and everything. So groove oriented a lot, dealing with my roots, my Jamaican roots. So like the world grooves of like the Jamaican vibe with the reggae and the ska and all types of, you know, Caribbean grooves.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah. Special guests. It's the whole nine, man. Looking forward to that, man. Yeah.
Well, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Everybody should be checking it out.
Yeah.
Man, it's been so great catching up with you at the NAMM show. And looks like we're in LA.
Yeah.
And it's about to rain.
Thank God.
Which we desperately need here.
Yes.
So let's hope for some rain.
Yeah. It's gonna be great.
Man, it's been great. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thanks for having me, man.
Oh,
yeah. Thanks for talking with me.
Oh, my pleasure.